The one with the cat is the second episode of the fourth season of Friends. This is directed by Shelley Jensen, and there will be spoilers from now as I discuss various aspects of the episode. And there are three key parts to this episode, and I have to say, the part with Chandler and Joey, which I will talk about last because it's my favourite, is just so iconic and I absolutely love it. The rest of the episode is brilliant as well, but certainly Chandler and Joey are fabulous. But I'll get in with the other aspects first. Sometimes I will go through an episode chronologically, but with this one I feel like it's easier to just talk about the three key plot points in turn. And the first one is involving Chip Matthews. And Rachel dated Chip Matthews at high school. Chip Matthews has phoned Monica. And we have this brilliant moment where Rachel sees that there's a message from Chip. She assumes it's for her. Ross has a bit of fun with that. And I like the fact that they're at the stage in their relationships maybe not the best word there, but where they can be in a room together, but they're now starting to have fun with each other and make fun of each other and torment each other, but in a way that's very entertaining for the viewer. And this is something we see a little later on with Phoebe and the cat, which I'll talk about in a moment. And I'm really having a lot of fun with the relationship between Ross and Rachel here. I don't like it when they're fighting. I don't like it when they're both hurting. But when we get a lot of humour out of it, absolutely love it. Chip comes over. One of my favourite bits, not just in this episode, but in every Friends episode, is when Chip knocks on the door and Monica runs out of the bathroom in a towel and she says, "Not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet." Absolutely love it. I don't know why, but I always have, and I just think it's fantastic. So big love to Courteney Cox for making me laugh every single time there. And Monica goes on the date with Chip, and it turns out Chip never really grew up. As a viewer, I find this funny, but I also think it's very meaningful as well, because it's not uncommon for people to say that those who are popular in high school peak in high school. And this really helps to reinforce that message. So if you're at school and you're looking at the popular kids and thinking this isn't fair, why do I feel like a nobody? Don't worry, because the people who are popular at school typically peak at school. There are exceptions, of course, but it's nice to be reminded of that fact, and it's something that I rather enjoy. So Monica and Chip, really nice part of the episode. Then we get Phoebe and the cat. The cat is absolutely stunning. Such a beautiful cat. The cat comes into Central Park and it goes into Phoebe's guitar case, and she picks up the cat and instantly decides this is her mother. Her mother has come back as a cat. And we actually have something quite telling that Ross says that I hadn't considered. But I will talk about that in a moment. First of all, though, Phoebe is not willing to let this cat go. Joey's comment about Phoebe's mother having a giant pair of Chandler cuts him off before he says it. Absolutely fantastic. I don't know if I would have got that joke when I first started watching Friends when I was a young child or relatively young child, but certainly watching it now, very, very funny. However, it turns out that there are missing cat posters put up for a cat called Julio, who is definitely Phoebe's mother, the cat. And Ross tells the others that they should tell Phoebe that this isn't her mother. This is a cat called Julio. A little girl is missing her cat. And understandably, nobody wants to do this. So eventually, Ross confronts Phoebe, and I love watching the cat in the background. If you watch the cat when Ross is confronting Phoebe, it's just licking the top of the entertainment centre. They've obviously put some kind of catnip or something down, and it's just having a great time. Ross confronts Phoebe, and this is the bit that I didn't really consider, but Ross points out that he knows Phoebe is feeling guilty for spending time with her new mother. This is, of course, Phoebe that we met in the previous few episodes. And I never really considered that, and I think that that's really moving. I mean, I say I never considered it. I don't remember the first time I watched this episode, but it's not something that I think is immediately obvious, or at least to me. I found that to be rather telling about how Phoebe was feeling, and very, very sweet as well. Phoebe tells Ross, can't you just be supportive? But honestly, I'm kind of on Ross's side here. He could have done things a bit more gently, but at the same time, that's not Phoebe's cat. If I lost a cat and somebody didn't return it because they thought it was their dead mother, I would be furious. I'd try and be sympathetic, but I'd want my cat back. So I understand right where Ross was coming from. But yeah, he could have been a little bit more tactful. But I love the cat, love that part of the episode. Then we get the favourite bit, and I just absolutely love it. The episode actually starts off establishing this part of the narrative because Chandler comes out of his room and rips his shirt on the entertainment centre. And he tells Joey, we have to get rid of it. And they come to a compromise. They're going to sell it. Joey puts a very funny ad in the paper asking for, I think it was $500 for this fine Italian craftsmanship. And several people come over to view it. Joey is not happy with any of them. Then somebody comes over. Chandler's not there. And Joey tells him, you need to buy it. It's fantastic. It's big enough to fit a grown man. And Joey tells him about the time he was locked in there, and this buyer just isn't accepting it. No, you can't fit a grown man in there. So Joey says, okay, if I can't, I'll knock $5 off the asking price. Okay, bucks sounds really weird in my accent. I'm going to stick with dollars. He'll knock $5 off the asking price. And of course, he gets in, and the guy locks him in. And the next thing we know about this, Chandler comes home, drops his keys onto what he thinks is going to be the table, and the keys fall to the floor, and it's just fantastic. The room is empty. Pat the dog is still there. They didn't take Pat the dog, and there are two reasons I think they did this. One is because we need to keep Pat the dog in the show. But two is to highlight the fact that it's a really tacky thing. I love it. I absolutely love it, but it's very tacky. And I think the fact that I can't really call him a buyer anymore, the thief didn't take Pat the dog helps to reinforce that. But of course, we need to keep Pat the dog. And it's just so funny and so entertaining. They took the chairs, devastating, but I won't say what happens with the chairs going forward. And then at the very end, we just get this beautiful, beautiful shot of Chandler and Joey in the canoe, the wooden canoe, which is relevant. It's mentioned earlier in the episode, and it's just fabulous. I love it. Definitely one of my favourite narratives in any Friends episode. It also becomes quite iconic because some things that happen in future episodes do reflect back on this episode, not in any extensive detail, but enough that this episode, or this part of the episode, does play quite an important role going forward. So I love it. I have no complaints. Yes, the story with Monica and Chip is brilliant. Of course, the story with Phoebe is adorable. The cat is just so beautiful. But for me, the highlights, other than Monica saying, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, the highlights for me definitely revolve around the story with Chandler and Joey. And the entertainment centre, very funny. Definitely a highlight, not just from this episode, but from the entire season. Season 4 is very strong, and I cannot wait to continue watching this because I think it's safe to say it's probably one of my favourite seasons.